Hi there. Richard's in. Gemini Moon is in. Pam I Am is in. Something happened to the Pam I Am hat. I am going to have to clean it before I can wear it again. It fell in something. Sorry, Pam. But we'll clean it and we'll be wearing the Pam I Am hat again. Okay. Hi. Thank you. Yeah, this is the Dragon Mama hat Lucid sent me. So, uh-oh. Yeah, gonna have to clean the Pam I Am hat, but it should be good as new. So once I'm done, I'll steam it. So, well, couple of things I should have also put on there that we need to plan our ceremony for spring, which is coming up this weekend. First day of spring, the vernal equinox. And that is a very happy time. And it is a time to rejoice. Also sometimes called Ostara, or some folks call it Easter. But Easter is later. It's a different belief system, but Ostara. Ah, such a beautiful time. When new life is starting again in the northern latitudes. And I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Spring! La, 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 I hear the voice of spring. La, 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 I hear the voice of spring. That's the way they sounded back then. That's the way they sung. It's weird, isn't it? Today, try that. Try getting a hit single out of it today like that. Me, I don't know. Maybe it'll work though. You never know. Some really weird shit has worked. Let's face it. I could try it. What the hell? Spring is in the air. Every time I look around. Yeah. Spring. Smells like Sasquatch. Spirit. No, kidding. I think we're getting, what isn't this? Getting into be Sasquatchy season? Sasquatch season? Yeah. And you know, the thing about that is, there literally is, in the northern latitude, there literally is a spring impulse, an influx of energy. It's part of the system of this place, is of Mother Earth. It's just like every dawn, there is an influx of energy. In the spring, there is a big influx of fresh energy to get things going, to get things started again. You know, it's necessary, right? So you can see this is wonderful time to push things forward and start things and get things going that you were hoping to get going and move forward. And yeah, and the animals all get frisky and bouncy, and I get frisky and bouncy myself. I tell you, although the incident we had, I will only call it that, I'm not going to mention names, but the incident we had that was kind of sad and alarming, since that, I've been getting my energy back. It's almost like the bubble popped, the pimple popped, and that's now I can, things can go on. It was like something under the surface was just messing things up and I couldn't figure out. And I kept thinking, okay, show me what this is, show me what this is, show me what is going on here. Boom, it popped. Okay, now we can go on. That's the way it is. And sometimes that's the way it is. So here I have about what I mean by how the magic works that you don't maybe expect. So say you're starting a magical practice for something. So, and you noticed it too, Pam, right? I've noticed it with a few. And how's Etri doing? Does anybody know what's happening with Etri? She okay still? Because she suddenly got better. She was talking about how she had a lot more energy. I was wondering if that was continuing. Or do we have to adjust again? Do we need another healing service? Because I feel pretty good. So if you all have needs out there, please let me know. Hi, Albert. So if you do have needs of healing and stuff, please let me know. We'll arrange some stuff because I am feeling better and can probably do that more often now. Chances are I won't need as much recovery time, So, and yeah, just let me know. But if y'all are feeling good, we should go full speed ahead on some of our stuff that we want to do. There are some things that we want to do in this group, it looks like. Or at least I'd like to see us do it. I'd like to see us improve all of our lives, for one thing, and become a little more popular. It would be a good time to expand the channel. Would be a good time to try out some new stuff. Would be a good time. We could probably go now. It might be okay to go back into doing some things like remote viewing or doing some things to change the trajectory of where reality is going. But before that happens, I have some emergency clearings that I'm told that somebody here needs. Maybe all of us need it. Okay, so there are some things that didn't get covered. I'm going to wait until a few more people come so that the most people can get covered by it, although I am told that if you see this in the replay, that's still going to work, okay? So if they have to see it in the replay and get it then, that's fine. It's just that I'm trying to get it covered as soon as I can. And those things have to do with survival. Because this is spring, we're about to get this inrush of energy. We do not want to put any of it towards the negative stuff, okay? We don't want to give any more negative crap, any more energy at all. So, yeah. So it's time to root out as much as we can. And there's a few things I was told that we needed to clear. And I can see that. I can see that because it's stuff that probably at one point or another we all did, okay? We were all thinking. Now let me tell you what's been going on. Since the wheel's getting unclogged, the wheels that are turning of fate, shall we say, karma, whatever you want to call it, they are turning faster now because they're getting unclogged. We've been unclogging them. So instead of karma taking lifetimes or years or months, it can take seconds, minutes, days, that would have normally taken centuries to clear, to go through the system. And it's like, it really is like, here we go. It's like a matrix. I'm sorry. All of these backed up requests. Okay? Some of the weight's coming off the system now. Some of the clutter has been deleted. And now some of those really old requests are going to start showing up. Okay? But think about it. Some of the stuff you requested in your past that you really don't want happening now. You know, you want to delete some stuff. There's some stuff that you may have asked for that you may want to delete now. And I'm just here to bring you the news that it's a good time to do that, because we're going to get all this energy, fresh energy coming in. Things are going to move along faster. If you in your past have asked for something, tried to do something, tried to bring something forth that now you really wish you hadn't asked for that, it's a good time to clear it. And I mean, we're going to do some specific things, and then maybe you want to think on your own about some things. Because, I mean, okay, wait a minute. Let's see what Bomber's saying. My old neighbor came through with a message from my mom when we were on the phone. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So, Albie is in and B is in. Bomber's in here. Okay. And, okay, I'm going to wait just a little bit longer. I'm going to go on with the thought. So, if you think back to, and a lot of this came when we were very young, okay? And it was stuff that you were wishing when you were young, is what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing, is that when we were young and didn't know any freaking better, what requests did we put in? Now remember, you're different from certain other people. You're creators, you're divine. You have a lot more, your intentions have a lot more weight than other people's, and than certain other people's intentions. Like, for instance, the types that are called NPCs or background people don't have this. But you, being real people and divine, you have this. You have a lot to say. So, although probably a lot of it's cleared out, I mean, probably you have thought back and thought, oh, delete that. Some of you even say, delete that, right? Then you still may have a few things creeping around in here. And I know when I grew up, there are certain phrases that were coming up for me, like mutually assured destruction. And it's coming up again. This mutually assured destruction thing is coming up, only they're planning on taking it to space. We need to cancel that if we can, or at least mitigate it. Because if they take that to space, I hate to tell you, but there are people that are not going. There are people out there that I feel very strongly they're not going like that. We try to take our petty bullshit out into space. Oh, hell no. They're not going to go for that. No. Hmm. Oh, that's cool, Bomber. Hmm. It sounds like her neighbor passed on and she was talking to her mom. That's what it sounds like. So, while Bomber's relating all that, uh-huh. While Bomber's relating all that, um, I will just go on with this a little bit. Okay, back in my time, it was nuclear. I mean, when I was being raised, uh, everything was nuclear threat, nuclear threat, nuclear threat, and we were told that. I mean, we were just basically blasted over and over with. You're going to die in a nuclear war or something nuclear or a nuclear accident. Oh, and mutually assured destruction was being bantered around pretty frequently. And this was something that was repeated over and over and over and over like a mantra. Mutually assured destruction, mutually, nuclear war, Armageddon, Armageddon. It was just over and over. So it's things like that that keep getting repeated. They're trying to incubate something. They're trying to incubate us to create something. Now, fortunately for us, we are not um, in a time when, for instance, nuclear destruction would hurt other dimensions as well that we are hooked to. And so there are beings that will not allow that to happen quite like that. No. And if they have to, as some of you may have heard, they've actually disabled some of our nuclear stuff because they don't want it to happen. It's a danger to not just ourselves. It goes beyond us. Okay, let's see. How far is Bomber in her story? She said, all our plants are healthy and look the same as when I got them. Oh, that's nice. And your mom told you a story from when she was in the nursing home? Oh, that's really cool. And she's laughing now. So, sounds like Mommy got a visit from her old neighbor who is passed on while she was talking to her mom on the phone. So she got to relay some messages from her mom's old friend, which turned out to be true, turned out to be validated. So that's pretty cool. And that's always cool when it happens, isn't it? It's always cool when you find that the messages that you're getting have some basis in facts that really happen. It kind of, no, that's okay. We got it. We figured it out. Um, that kind of reminds me of something that happened when I was going through Mary Campbell Cave area down in Akron, Cuyahoga Falls area park. And Mary Campbell Cave area really looks like Okay, they said a glacier made it, but I don't know about that. The more I think about it, no, I think maybe something else was going on down there. Yeah, I think probably a lot of that stuff was built on more ancient stuff, because I saw some huge blocks down there under the bridge. And I was thinking, how in the heck did they ever do this? I don't think they did. I think they built the bridge on top of it. So, and then I saw, when I was down there, I saw like a park, like an amusement park. And I thought, wow, that's weird. And I saw rides and stuff going out over the river and, just all around down in that area. And I was thinking, wow, that's really weird. When I got home, I told my dad about it because he could handle supernatural stuff better than my mother. Told my dad about it. He was a little drunk, like often at night. He would be a little tipsy, so he would be more inclined to talk than he was when he wasn't. I think that may be why he drank. Is it because he knew too damn much about some stuff, right? And a lot of it was supernatural type stuff that you couldn't talk about back then. You just couldn't talk about it. I mean, it's not like today. Today is way different. So I told my dad about seeing this amusement park down there, and like a story from somebody a spirit down there. And he had a friend sitting with him having a drink. And it turned out that the friend knew all about that amusement park that had been there and this person that had the incident happen. He's like, oh, wow. He said, yes, in fact, there was an amusement park there. And, I described where everything was. And he's like, yeah, how do you know that? It's like, I saw it. I saw it down there. So, that was one of the times when my dad and him looked at each other like, yeah, the kid's weird. Yep, the kid's weird, but she's right. So, yeah. Well, that's wonderful, Bomber, that old friends are not gone forever. Yeah. They're always so amazed. And it's good when it's validated, because then they actually believe you, because too often people try to come up with this stuff and they don't get validated. That's another part of this. See here, this even goes, this is even synchronous. The magic works. Magic works. It works. It does happen. This is not just talking out your hat. And I should know, we have many hats. I have a lot of hats. No, this stuff is real. I don't know why we should even be surprised by now that it is real, but it is nice to know that it's true, that the visions we see are true, and it really happened. And Bomber says, I never would have relayed that message without all your encouragement of these crazy abilities. The logical side of my brain takes over and I deny it. So thank you for encouraging me to trust the messages. You're welcome. We should be trusting, but yet it's good to validate, because sometimes you can misunderstand things. Sometimes maybe you almost got it right, but not quite. And it's just a matter of interpretation. So it's always good to validate these things whenever you can. But I hope that you guys realize that y'all can all do this, okay? And that things that you're seeing and things that you're feeling, like I said, you've been gaslit all your life. You've been gaslighted all your life. All of us have. We've been told that our perceptions are not right. They can't be right. They don't have this scientific, basis. And then the skeptics try to jump on you, right? So I'm sorry, but some of them are septic instead of skeptic. Some are skeptic, some are just skeptical. Skeptical is not that bad. You gotta have some judgment about things. You gotta have some kind of idea about whether or not it's the truth. However, I have another message. And this is kind of important that you understand. We're in a time period when what would look to be mutually exclusive things, mutually exclusive realities, mutually exclusive events that could not possibly both exist, but they are. They're going to exist. They're both going to exist, and they're both going to be true. And just because one's right doesn't mean the other's wrong. And just because one's wrong doesn't mean they're both wrong. Or they're both right. It's going to be weird. And you know what? This has made my job a lot tougher. Because I'm supposed to be able to see this stuff, right? But when I'm checking with more and more, when I'm checking something with my pendulum, I have to make sure I ask all different kinds of ways to make sure I don't misinterpret what's going on. It's really weird. Yeah, Bomber, it is. That's exactly what's going on. It's kind of like a muscle. We're told, don't use that one. Don't use it. No. Yeah, the more you use it, the more frequently it'll come up, the more you trust it. So why should these messages come to you if you're going to ignore them? You're just going to ignore them, and you're going to, there's all these doubts, and it's not right, and it's not, why would it come to you? Keep coming and keep coming, unless you're just very strong, and it has, like, in my case, at least I had a little encouragement to believe in what I saw, because at least my father was into paranormal stuff. Okay, so it wasn't entirely off the books. And my mother was not into paranormal. It scared the crap out of her. She didn't want anything to do with it. However, she was into things like miracles. And between the two of them, I saw a side of the world that maybe not everybody would see. But it showed me that science was not necessarily right about everything. That just because science couldn't prove it yet doesn't mean it isn't true. And I will bring up the ether. For a long time, they could not prove that such a thing as the ether existed. But as they got more precise instruments. Finally, they did prove that indeed there is such a thing as the ether, and it does actually exist. So it went from being absolutely poppycock, according to science, to being an absolute fact now. Yes. And so basically, just because science cannot detect it now doesn't mean that they never will. Okay? Just because they cannot discover it now doesn't mean that they never will. They used to say that nothing can travel faster than light. Now that's being called into question. Okay? So, and I say, oh yes, something can. Thought can travel faster. Communication from person to person can be instantaneous. Thought can travel faster than light. Wow, that's a pretty cool statement. I think I'm going to sit on that, and someday when it comes out, like so many things I've said over the years that have turned out to be true and science finally catches up, I think I'm going to sit on that, and when they say, oh, gee, thought can travel faster than light. It can be instantaneous. I'll say, told you so. Told you so. Well, write it down, Bomber. Make sure you write it down and have it handy. And then if you see the opportunity, if you see an opening and you feel that there's an opening there, you'll have it. So that way you're still honoring the message. If you write it down, you're honoring the message, even if you cannot relay it right at that time. Hey, Drake. So that's my advice right now, is if you don't feel you can deliver it, write it down. Write down the messages. That way you're still honoring what you're getting. You're not just throwing it out, you know. And some point, there will come a time when you will be able to deliver that message. That's usually how that works. And and I would say that for a lot of things. If you can't do it right now, write it down. If you're getting some ideas and there's nobody to tell it to right now, write them down. You may have somebody to tell it to soon that you never thought of, you know, that somebody might show up that needs that exact message. That's happened to me before. You know, like that's why I was doing so good when I was journaling, and I got to get back to journaling because, and they tell you to journal because journaling is great. You can get so much more out of your experiences if you journal it, and then later on something will be like click, click, click. Oh my gosh, there it is, and it validates it for you, or the person that it was meant for shows up, or whatever it is. That's the value of journaling. Well, you are a bomber, chat bomber. That's okay. It kind of fit in. Like this is. Sometimes the magic works. I was going to say, now this is interesting. I just got a bunch of these new crystals in, right? What are they for? Shedding light on things, selenite. Breaking dark attachments, black kyanite, etc., right? What happened? Light was shed on a situation that was unclear to me, that I couldn't figure it out. Light was shed on it, wasn't it? And furthermore, dark attachments were broken. Okay, so it wasn't like Samantha twitching her nose. It wasn't like I Dream of Jeannie doing the, where she does the thing. It wasn't like that, but it did happen. It did happen. Whatever was going on, hey, didn't it come right up? Mm-hmm. And somehow that's how it works. For instance, you do something to help a friend with some issue, and you're waiting and you're waiting. But all of a sudden, your friend comes up and tells you, hey, I started a new diet, or hey, I started a new practice, or hey, I found this. Guess what? It worked. The magic worked. Okay? Now, they're not going to credit you with it. Okay, they're not going to say, hey, look what you did. No, because they're expecting you to twitch your nose and suddenly it's different. That's not how it works. Most of the time, well, occasionally it does. Most of the time, though, what happens is that person finds what it is that they need to solve that problem, and they quite often bump into it seemingly all on their own. And they won't relate it back to anything you did. But no, it worked. The magic worked. That's the way it goes. So, yeah, I knew Barry would come in here with his luxurious nose hairs and wonder what all the quickie was about. Barry of the luxurious nose hairs and the explosive fartes. Fartes. Anyway, we are a city crew. We're almost as bad as the Knights of the Round Table. We drink whenever we're able. Do 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 do. It's from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Well, yeah, Barry, that's why you belong here with us. You're weird. Weird. There you go. We knew that. You know, Captain Obvious. Gonna have to name you Captain Obvious of the night. Okay. So we've got a few more people here now. And pretty soon I'm going to have to do these clearings for whoever happens to be here. I like that one. I'm every weirdo. It's all in me. There you go. And you wear it well, Barry. You really do. Oh, by the way, has anybody seen Pappy Two Bears? Has he deserted us, or is he having trouble with his internet, or what is going on with Pappy Two Bears? I miss him. And where's Etri? I'm worried about Etri. And where's Annie? Yeah, Pam, some of us are just quieter weirdos. Some of us are just incognito weirdos. Oh, I wondered about that. I thought some of our friends might be imbibing in the green beer. The green beer. I don't know. That's a horrible. No, that isn't the right accent. It's it'd be imbibing in the green beer. I don't know. That's a little better. Still not very good. My kids laugh at me. Well, good. At least they're not crying. St. Patty's Day. A lot of people are probably recovering from St. Patrick's Day. Oh, that's good. Like I said, living in an Irish paradise. That's certainly nothing like an Amish paradise, that's for sure. Or a gangsta's paradise. So true, Bummer. Oh, I'm such a weirdo, and I can't hide it. And I think I like it. We need to have another sing-along night. We have to have another night by the campfire. Yeah, we need another campfire night where we're singing songs around the campfire. I think that should be part of what we do for our spring celebration. We should be singing around the campfire, singing the songs. Maybe we'll do some campfire karaoke. Yeah, and y'all are woo crew, so you're weird and woo. All things weird and woo. Oh, the weird and wooing way. Woo and weirding way. Something like that. I am considering calling this, instead of my name, I'm considering calling it D Ocean's Weird World, Weird Times, or Weird World, Weird Time, maybe. And spell it with Y. Spell it with a Y. Because then we can always say why. Because we love you. No, why? You can always be asking why. And everyone, really. Who's everyone? Oh, everyone who's not here? Yeah, and I don't know why they're not here. I have no idea. I hope it's nothing I did. But I hope that it's something I did that brings people here. But I hope it's nothing I did that they're not here. Anyway, okay, the clearings. I better get to them because it's kind of important. There's Vinny. Ba 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 barino. Ba 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 barino. Hey. Yeah, Ocean's World. Ocean's World. But with weirder, yeah. Yeah. Dances with Sasquatch. No, that's what Bomber needs to call hers. Dances with Sasquatch. Ah. Oh, you're dreaming of Wendigo and Sasquatch coming? Don't dream of Wendigo, you crazy fool. You better be kidding. I don't want to hear that you've been eaten by a Wendigo. And that's what Peter Pan said. Where did Wendy go? Whoops. Ah! Bomber hangs out with skinwalkers. Ah! Well, that's interesting. Pam had a Sasquatch dream last night. Oh, oh, see, you gotta watch it. Pam had a Sasquatch dream. Sasquatch dreams. Okay. Oh, so many chances. Do you, and Pam, I hear that you have a story that you want to tell here sometime. When there are more, when everybody's in and everything's working. And I would love to hear it. Will you please call me and talk to me about it, or chat me and talk to me about whatever the story is that you want to tell? And we will absolutely arrange that, because I would love to hear that. And also, if Bomber has a story to tell, she can tell it in here too. I hope you know that. Oh, you can step on the twig, but not the berries. Yeah, that's so kinky. I'm not the one that came up with it. It's not my fault. I just love the way the eyes glow. Here, and now you can see that. I feel like a Valkyrie now. La da dee, la da dum. La da dee, la da dum. I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today. Isn't that funny how they used to sing? Can you believe it? That used to be the way that they would sing. Anyway, come on. There you go. That's a little better. Mm-hmm. The gur in swagger. I'm a swagger. Single gur. I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today, today. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. I'm hoping and I'm dreaming of the right things to say, to say. I remember that, yeah. It's yep, Snow White.
Hey.
And here is Pam I Am.
You found me.
You add to the silliness.
That is. I know.
Okay.
Hey, how are ya?
I am feeling great, by the way.
Good. Good.
So I've been doing pretty good. I've been staying up way too freaking late lately, listening
Did you have
to
fun last?
and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. Did you have fun on the conference last night? You had a seminar last night?
Oh, I fell asleep.
Oh no.
Here, I go on this I set it all up. I go into this conference. It's supposed to be empowering my divine feminine. And she's going on about a bunch of stuff I already know about, and I already know about that, and I already know that. All of a sudden, I wake up and she's advertising how to buy her book, and it's over.
Oh no.
And I'm like,
Go figure.
well, fortunately, I didn't pay anything for it. It was a free one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just, almost. Oh, Bomber was singing along with me.
Was she?
Yeah, well, that's the way they used to sound. It's really funny when you think of the way they used to sound, because what was that one? When I'm calling you. That was
I
like,
remember that. I remember that. Yeah. Watching the old movies with my folks. Yeah. It's like, what is that?
I remember as a kid going, what? Is
Kind of
this some
reminds me
kind
of
of
the
a
lollipop.
comedy? No, it wasn't a comedy. That's the way they sounded. Will you answer to?
Or like the Lollipop Kids on The Wizard of Oz. That
We
song
represent the
always got me.
lollipop kids, the lollipop kids, the lollipop kids. We represent the lollipop kids. We wish to welcome you to Munchkin Land. I don't even know how I do that with my voice. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, like a chipmunk.
Well, Bonnie wanted me to tell my dream last night. It was actually it was
Okay.
weird. Yeah, I often have dreams of Sasquatch, but this one was
This was
pretty
sassier than usual Sasquatch.
yeah, well, no, actually, it was pretty
Oh, okay.
neat though. It stayed with me all morning. No, you know how a lot of people around you don't believe in Sasquatch.
Yeah,
There's
around
some
most of us,
doubters, and
they're just like,
my husband is one of them, but he's coming around. The more I talk about it and share with him information and stuff I've learned. But in this dream, we were in a house and we were up in the woods, and I was saying, guys, there could be Sasquatch out there. And they're like, oh, no, no. And I go, I'm watching and I'm listening, and I think there's one up there in that tree. And they didn't believe me. But I said, quiet, now listen and watch. And for sure they started going, uh-oh, yeah, I think you're right. And so then all of a sudden it went from knowing we were watching and anticipating this Sasquatch up in the trees. We were sitting out by a campfire outside the house, and the Sasquatch came up and sat down with us. And they were visiting with us like we were just friends, and you know,
cool.
and they were all my friends or family or whoever was with me besides my husband were all like, wow, this is neat.
Maybe
And we just sat around the campfire and they just sat there trying to communicate with us. And, after a little bit, they decided they needed to leave. And that was the end of my dream.
maybe we need to do that. Maybe when we have our campfire, we should say, do we have any messages from Sasquatch? See if we get any messages from them.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good idea.
Right. We might, because I've been thinking on it very hard. It's like I keep getting this message that it's time we do communicate with them.
Yeah.
We have been putting it off because of various, and I've been putting it off for various. I said, boy, it's probably better for both of us if we don't, because what happens next is not. But no, I'm getting that. No, it's time. No, it's time. It's getting
Yeah.
to be that time that we have some things to discuss with each other, that we
Mm-hmm.
help each other. We're going to need each other's help. We're going to need each other's understanding. And there's some things that they know that we need to know. And
Yeah.
maybe vice versa too. I don't know. We have some things that they might need too. Maybe. I don't know. But if
Yeah.
they're willing to tell us stuff, if they're willing to talk, I'm
Yeah.
willing to listen.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
go
it
ahead.
just kind of reminds me of another dream that I had. This has probably been a couple of months, and I still remember it very clearly. We were going on a walk, and we were like in like a group tour, kind of there was other people. Maybe we were in a state park and walking a trail, and there was other people up ahead. And then I knew that I was consciously aware there was still people coming up behind us. But we were walking along through this trail and through the trees and out in the field. There were a couple of what I thought were coyotes at first, but then they turned into wolves. And then they turned into real big wolves and they started snarling and they were coming closer and closer to the trail, and I was like, "What are we gonna do? Are we gonna run? Are we gonna," kind of thinking, and then we get up into the woods, and I catch up with a group of people that are standing there, and here's this juvenile Sasquatch standing there, and he's trying to talk to people. And I come up and I started talking to him, and I was the only one that could understand him. And he was trying to save us from the wolves. And his other clan of, his family were nearby, but they weren't visible. But he was trying to save us from the wolves, and the people were freaking out a little bit. But when I walked up to him, um, I started talking to him, and he understood me, and I understood him in kind of a telepathic way. And he continued to walk with us through the woods. And I knew his name. He told me his name, and now I'm trying to remember what his name was. I'll remember it. I just can't remember it at the moment. But
Cool.
it was a really cool name, too. It would sound like a Sasquatch name. And so I'm walking through the woods, and he's walking along with us, and he's just seeing us through the woods and seeing us safely through. We get out to the other side where we're almost near, um, getting close to a building or an outhouse or something like that. And all of a sudden, we hear this voice in his name yell out and say, "It's time to go home," or something like that. And I'm like this, and he goes, "Yeah, I have to go home." And he disappeared into the bushes, and I was just like, "Oh, I love you so much. You're so sweet. You're such a kind soul," you know? And it was like, "I hope I can see you again someday." But he left because we were safe, and his family wanted him back home, or back with them. It was just an awesome dream.
Yeah, I think I am getting the feeling they really are going to be communicating with you as you tell that dream,
Mhm.
that really they are going to be
Yeah.
communicating with you. And possibly the reason you could hear him or understand him might be mind speak.
Mhm.
And that's awesome. Like I said, I've been kind of putting it off because I'm afraid for them and I'm afraid for us.
Mhm.
Uh, I figure probably they've answered me often enough.
Yeah.
I said, prove to me you're there. They have. And I wanted to go out and meet them, but it was just too dangerous. Now I feel it might be okay because I have been hearing that some things have been taken off the board now, which is why another reason why I'm going to be doing these clearings is because there are some things that are changing now, and it's going to unstick some stuff, and stuff is going to go forward. So we needed to go forward without some of the negative stuff that we needed to move forward. We would even be ungumming it a little bit more, unclogging it a little bit more to do so. Everything that we clear, we're unclogging it. We're unclogging all of the whole works. So, oh, and Bomber says hers started with dreams as well, and then she got the real life stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Barry says sometimes they'll issue warnings in dreams. Maybe there are something like wolves that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Um, I've always had a sense of Sasquatch since I was a child. I don't know, I haven't had any experience with them as I can recall. I say that because as a child, my dad used to take us out into the woods a lot. But I I just know I've always had a sense of them. So when it started coming out, like the Patty film, I was like, "Oh my gosh, there they are." So I've always believed in them, not really have had an experience, but um, I've always had a sense like if we're driving through an area or we're going somewhere, we're out in the woods or, like when we were in Glacier last year, I always had a sense I knew they were there. I just have a sense I know they're there. And then I have a sense I know when they're not there, So
I have a funny way of thinking about this because I think this is what's happening now, looking back on it. I would go out to the woods and I would then open up and start beaming love. And I would beam love to the earth and the sky and the clouds and the sun and all of nature and all of that. But then I would be there, and it happened here too, where I would be sitting down and doing all that, and then it would be like I would get something radiating love at me. And it was almost like it was talking to me without talking to me. And I would say something like, show me something beautiful. And something beautiful would just show up, And then at one point I felt like somebody was saying, we missed you. You missed me. It's like, yeah, we really miss you. We've known you your whole life and we haven't hardly seen you. It's like there was a point at which I stopped being able to go out to the woods like that because I'm in a walker now and because I was in the city, more towards the city, and I couldn't really get out in the woods. I didn't have any way to do that. And which made me sad because I really like being out in the woods.
Yeah.
And it was almost like somebody was upset that they hadn't seen me in so long, that they had missed me. And I'm thinking, well, that's interesting. You know what I think it was? I think I have been getting the impression that some of them actually like me and miss me because they used to see me all the time.
Yeah.
I was outside all the time. And I guess they do have their favorite people that they like, and they miss seeing them when they're not around, just like we miss seeing people when they're not around, even though they never spoke to me, never. I keep thinking some of these thoughts that were in my mind some of these times when I was out there, was that them? They just didn't want to scare me, because the last thing in my mind was Sasquatch. It was was about the last thing in my mind was, could this be a Sasquatch? Because for some reason it just wasn't one of the things that here, I'll put a nature-y scene up. There you go.
Beautiful sunset kind of thing.
Yeah, I took that sunset, by the way. It's one of my pictures. Here's another one. This is over the Ohio Valley at sunset. So for a minute, I'll blink out so that you can look at it. Hang on.
Oh.
Okay, you got bigger. I didn't know it was going to do that, but anyway, it's you'll be able to.
That's a picture of me and that's a picture of me and my husband. So
I are a professional. Oh, is that your husband? Hi there.
Well, that's just a picture of us.
Hi. Well, okay. Is that you? No, that's just a picture of me. I'm standing right here. Oh. I'm glad you clarified. I couldn't have figured that out myself.
No.
But don't forget, I'm weird too. Okay. So we're all weird together. Hey, we're all weird together. Yes. Well, that's really cool. We finally get to see what he looks like, kind of. And
kind of. He's a big burly guy.
Oh, that's nice. That's always nice.
He keeps telling me he's going to die. He keeps telling me he's going to dye his hair. I'm like, because he's getting gray. He's pretty gray now. I'm like, going, you're just going to look like an old dark haired guy. You're just going to look like an old man with dark hair. So don't dye it.
Oh, yeah. And Bomber says she thought it was Jesus walking with me in the woods. It's like what you're raised with is what you're going to think of.
Yeah. And
There's
I can't see chat from here. I'm on my phone, so I can't see chat at all.
well, I'm giving you some snapshots of what's going on here. But
Okay, good.
Bomber says gorgeous photos. And Gemini says, great picture of you and your hubby, Pam. And
Thank you.
how is he doing now? Is he doing okay?
Well, he's stabilized. He's doing good. The doctors have him on a medication to keep the pressures down into his heart, and I think that's what's causing all the issues. Is his pressures are really high. When he went in for his catheterization, I can't even say that word. Um, they found he has the beginning stages of heart disease in his arteries, but nothing that they would stent or have to unclog at this point. So that's good. His heart is good and strong. But with the enlarged aorta and the high pressures in his heart, that's what they need to keep an eye on. So they've got him on a medication for that to keep the pressures down, because the lower the pressures can stay, the less likely that aorta will even grow larger. You know what I mean? So the pressure takes the pressure off his aorta. So he just basically just has
Well,
he
we're going to have to do some intention so that heals up.
yeah. So in other words, though, he's doing good. He can only work part-time right now. But he's going to be retiring soon, so he's looking forward to that.
So the Sasquatch have been coming in dreams to Pammy. Sounds like it.
Yeah, I've had a lot.
Hmm?
I've had quite a few, but those are the two prominent ones. Of course, the one I had last night, but the one with the juvenile Sasquatch was,
Pretty
it's
interesting.
been a few months now, yeah, but I remember it very well.
Mm-hmm. And I remembered as I heard somebody else's account, I might have also been around a dog man and didn't know it, because they seem to play with you, like to play with people. We don't really have any accounts of killing people or trying to kill people or actually trying to kill people, but we do have chasing them.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering really if most of that, if the fear is really warranted with them, or do they just like to play with us because they're dogs and dogs like to play? I mean, because, we're slow prey and, it's fun for them maybe. But seems like a lot of people talk about being chased and not being caught. But if you think of something that has that big of a stride, that's that tall, they could easy outrun you. If they wanted to catch you, they'd catch you.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have anything to say about it. I'm sorry. If they wanted to kill you, they'd kill you. So this tells me that maybe they don't really want to kill us. Maybe they're just playing, just stay out of this area to scare you. It's like, don't come through here. That kind of thing, or just to have fun. Well, once again, this happened the same area where the something threw pebbles in my path and made me turn around and go the other way, because I've told that story before. Same kind of an area. I'm walking through high grass, and you know how your footsteps make a noise. It's sort of chunk, 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 as you're walking through the grass. It makes a a sound. Well, I heard someone, what sounded like someone echoing my footsteps, like my footsteps were echoing. And when I'd stop, they'd stop. And when I'd start again, they'd start again. And I looked all around and I couldn't see anything. I looked behind me, I looked to the side, I'm like, the heck is going on here? And I would go a little ways forward. I'd look around, didn't see anything, and and finally, as that continued, and it was starting to kind of get to me, and I'm like, look, whoever you are, I can't see you, but I know you're there. And knowing that there were magical things out in the woods, I mean, all I knew, I didn't know what all they were, but I knew that there were magical things out there in the woods. I knew there had to be. And I said, whatever you are, all I'm doing is trying to get back to my car. That's all my intention is. So, if you don't mind, I'm just passing through, just letting them know this is my intention. I don't have any intention except just passing through here and getting back to my car. Because um, if I'm in your living room or something, sorry about that. I'm just passing through. So, that might have saved me from a lot, even seeing a lot of this stuff. It's because I'm always like that. If I think somebody's watching me or something's watching me, or there may be something that's like, I just start broadcasting, look, all I'm doing is just passing through. I'm not here to hunt. I'm not here to hurt anything. I'm not here to change anything. I'm just heading here or there. We're going to go to my car. You know what? After I said that, it stopped. It stopped.
Oh.
Whatever it was heard me. So then I hear another story about a guy who has something almost exactly like that happen. And it turned out, in his case, he did see it, and it turned out to be a dog man. So his was a dog man, and I'm there.
Oh.
Could it be that that's just the way that they play with us to kind of spook us a little bit because it's fun? Or could it even be the same dog man because these guys were from Ohio and I'm here in Ohio? Is somebody calling the dogs
It's my husband.
in the background?
He's at the yeah, that's kind of a distance away. I'm surprised you hear that. So yeah, he's calling the cats and the
He's
dog.
calling the cats and the dog. Okay. It's just funny that while I'm telling this story of a perhaps dog man, he's calling the
I know.
yeah, yeah. And B is Bomber is saying, yes, that happened all the time when I was a kid in the woods wandering up the mountain. I'd try to catch their steps. They always told us Jesus walked with us, so I chalked it up to be.
There you go.
The time something heavy jumped from the tree, I knew it wasn't Jesus. Oh, that's funny. And those dreams are always, and she says those dreams are always so vivid. They feel like visit dreams from past loved ones. So now I believe they are actually visiting us.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
I think
exactly.
that's probably exactly what's happening, where they are really
Exactly. That's exactly
identified
what
with
happened.
Mama D. Here you go. Wait a minute. Okay, I love this thing. Look at this.
I know.
Isn't this
You can
great? This is
you can
great.
see how it refracts the light just
It's
even
so
on the video. Yeah.
Um, so anyway, uh, something heavy jumped from the tree. Jesus would be much lighter, I guess. Well, not water after all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking that, this is just the way that one of the dog men just likes to play with us.
Yeah.
They just want to have fun too. I mean, it must be boring for them sometimes.
I
And
don't know.
pretty entertaining. I mean, we can probably be pretty entertaining. So the next time this happens, I'm going to say, okay, who am I talking to here? who's who's there? Can I'm just passing through. I mean, but you want to have a chitty chat, we can do that. You know, but since I saw a new Anubis come
Mm-hmm.
into our circle,
Yeah, I was there that night. Yeah.
we're having our campfire, and I'm like, and I'm so surprised I can't even get the name right. Anubis, 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 Anubis. It's like, what? Now we got Egyptian gods. Okay, fine. Okay, hi Anubis, how you doing? And like I say, always talk to them as equals, because if you talk like a lowly servant, that's probably how you're going to get treated. I mean, your attitude has a lot to do with how you get treated. And if you're a smartass and try to banish them and get rid of them, that's going to have an effect too. Probably not a happy one. So it's usually better to err on the side of caution and just be, hi, how you doing, big fella? That kind of thing, rather than very friendly and cordial and hey, it's respectful and hey, rather than or get out of it, get thee behind me, or something stupid like that. I mean, we may see more like that. I mean, there may be a lot more of that to come, because I have literally seen a priest of Thoth come walking through my living room before. That's happened. And I mean, I've had all kinds of beings come walking through my place to say hi, and sometimes to deliver a message. So, and it's weird because I am kind of wavy gravy. Sometimes my third eye sees really clear, really freaking clear, and then sometimes it's just, is somebody there? Where are you? So
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what makes the difference there, but it does change. Anyway, Sasquatch soccer. Oh, Barry's talking
Sasquatch
about
soccer.
Sasquatch soccer, not hopsquatch. Yeah, do they play Sasquatch soccer or do they play hopsquatch more?
I
I
don't
think they
know.
play hopsquatch a lot.
They might like to play kick the can. Have you ever listened to Caveman or any of his stories about the Squatch from his reservation down there in New Mexico?
I'd never even heard of caveman.
Oh, Caveman is one of Duke's friends.
Okay.
And yeah, and
Maybe
Duke has had Caveman on his shows a couple of times. So if you want to check it out, you can always go back into
if
his.
he'd be on my show, I'd put him on this show.
Yeah, but he was so funny. Caveman is a medicine man down there in New Mexico on one of the Indian reservations. Just a minute, okay?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought my husband was talking to me. Anyway, Caveman was telling us a story of him growing up and, down there on the reservation. And they would, as kids, they would love to go out in the summer or whenever and play kick the can. And they just had a little tin can, because they were poor and they didn't have a whole lot, but that was one of the games they played. And here's a bunch of little kids running around playing kick the can. Well, they one day, uh, on one occasion, this little boy who they thought was a little boy he was about, they thought he was about 8 or 9 years old, the same age. And they kept wondering, and he just loved to play kick the can, and he would join in and nobody knew who he was. Well, he was this furry little thing. He had this really heavy coat on, and they couldn't figure out why this little boy was playing kick the can with them in the middle of the summer in the heat, wearing a fur coat. And so he went he went he went to his father, and he said, "What was that? Who's that little boy that wears a fur coat that plays kick the can with us all the time?" And he goes, "Little boy? That's no little boy." It was just a very, very young Sasquatch out there playing kick the can with them. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. You would have to hear Caveman tell that story, but it was absolutely hilarious.
So many times when we're kids, these things just don't register as being that weird because we're new and, you know, we're new and what's normal anyway, right?
Yeah, they were kids. They were like 5 or 6 years old, something like that. They had no idea who this little boy was. They just thought he was a little boy. There was no judgment on their behalf other than he was wearing a fur coat in the middle of the summer.
Uh, okay. Yeah, they're saying caveman has a sense of humor. Well, I'd get along with him then. If you have a sense of humor, I could generally get along with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He tells good stories. I love listening to caveman stories.
Oh, cool.
So,
Well, I have to look him up. He's got a channel?
um, yes, he does. I'll have to go find it, and I don't think he does on YouTube though. It's only on Facebook. He has a page.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, we need, oh gosh, I almost feel like I need to go back on Facebook, but I don't really want to, but I guess maybe I should. Uh, get us some real estate there so we can put some of our stuff there so we can grow a little bit. Because Facebook is still bigger than MeWe.
yeah.
So, yeah. Um, he was always there. Somehow he'd always find them when they were playing Kick the Can.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're here, and probably because this is exactly the kind of terrain I hear that they absolutely love. It's swampy, not swampy, but boggy. So a lot of people are not walking through the bogland because it's freaking dangerous for us little people. We can get swallowed up by a bog really easy, but they would know their way around a lot better than we would. And it's also got these deep ravines that they can use to get around. It's got water. We've got plenty of water around here. Got plenty of game. So, there'd be plenty for them to eat. And just all kinds of play. This would be like a playland for them because, there's places where people just don't walk around. They don't go, and they'd be probably pretty safe. There's places around here they'd probably be quite safe until, of course, the construction catches up. But but really beyond us here and the people and the place right next to us, it's mostly country. It's mostly just farms and stuff and little windy roads and stuff. It's we're right on the edge of basically town nowhere, and the bog park is just up the road, within walking distance. So they could probably get from wherever they are behind the bog there. Chances are they're hanging out, having parties back behind the bog there because they know that nobody can get to them there. They know that nobody's going to come looking for them because you can't get through the bog. It's just too overgrown and dangerous.
Oh, it's a good place to hide too.
Great place to hide if you know what you're doing and you know the woods. That'd be a perfect place to hide. They don't, in fact, they warn transient people that are homeless and stuff, don't fall asleep there. You can get swallowed, but you can disappear.
Oh, yeah, it's not good.
It's a bog, if you take the wrong step, you can end up just fallen in the bog and never be seen again, because once you get down there,
Mhm.
it just closed back up over you, and
Yeah, it just sucks you right in.
and then it's black and you can't see, and so you really got to be careful out there. But the way they got the park set up is, as long as you stay on the trail, you're okay. So I got to show you that, because there's some really nice. There's larches down there. A lot of people don't know what a larch is, but it's a kind of a cross between or it is the midpoint in evolution, you might say, between the conifer and the deciduous trees who lose their leaves. So larches are really weird. They're like in the middle there. They bear cones. They have needles like a pine tree, but they do turn brown in the winter and shed stuff. So it's weird. It's we got a weird little spot here. It's a very ancient tree, kind of tree that
Wow.
you don't see just anywhere. They only grow in certain areas. So there's other stuff we have. I know we have wild blueberry out there. We have, they probably love those. I mean, that's probably yummy. They probably all kinds of stuff to eat out there. They're probably having a good old time out behind there, Because it's
Mhm.
like when I say, "Hey, you guys there?" They answer me pretty quick. They'd leave something.
Yeah. How far above sea level is that? Are you guys there?
I'm not sure in this spot. I'm not sure. I'd have to check, because um, hmm, we do have. We're very hilly here in Ohio.
Yeah, and it
And
seems we're
better,
green.
I don't know that we're really at that elevated. If we've got swampy areas, we might not be that high up. But we have places here in Ohio that if you're riding a motorcycle, you better have guts. You better have some stainless steel balls, because honestly, uh, there's places that really, it's like a roller coaster, like in the
Oh,
Seven Hills area.
yeah.
Seven Hills is just like a roller coaster. You get to the top of, and this is in a car, get to the top of the hill, you can't see anything except sky, you know? And then it's like you go, ah, the next one. Ah!
Oh.
So,
I like one of those roller coaster hills. Oh my goodness.
and then we used to live over by Howard Street, and the Howard Street Hill was another one that, if it was winter and you had to get down and you somehow had to be on Howard Street, it was like, ah! People would be driving along and they'd be like, "Where did this street go?"
I know. We have a street like that in Spokane. And it's one of those that goes your car reaches the top of it, and then all of a sudden straight down, and
Yeah.
then straight again for across the street, and then straight down, and they've actually fixed it since then, because there were so many accidents on that hill. And so
Yeah.
many, how many cars ended up on people's roofs, the roofs of their
Kidding.
homes. Yeah, because they would try to race down that hill, or
People's
they were not expecting it to slow down, to go down. They would end up flying. Yeah,
Wee.
and there's homes along those. So a lot of kids, a lot of accidents. Some kids lost their lives on that hill.
That's,
Kids, they would try to sled down the hill, but it's a
oh
major
God.
street in the middle of the night trying to sled down that hill. No, it was pretty dangerous hill back in my day. Yeah, but they fixed it so it's not so steep. It
Mhm.
has more of a slopey slope down instead of like a
Yeah,
stair.
there would be people trying to get up the hill. We would see
Yeah.
them. People
Oh, you
trying
wouldn't
to
go
get
uphill.
up the hill, and you could see them from the bridge. People trying to get up the hill, and they couldn't get up
Yeah.
the hill. They'd be sliding back down.
Yep.
And
You wouldn't get up the hill when it was like that. Mm-mm.
It was like that too. And we also have, oh gosh, do I have a great story? Here's a great one about the hills in Ohio. Okay. So I'm driving this old van that we didn't pay that much for. We paid maybe $300 for this thing. It didn't have any bells or whistles. In fact, it didn't have half of the stuff that it was supposed to have. It didn't have any emergency brakes. I found
Uh-oh.
out it didn't have a horn. I found out in the weirdest possible way, worst possible time. And I found out, it's just, this thing was just a death crate, a rolling death crate that had been owned by a band. And I mean, the reason we got it was we were vendors and we had space to stash all our stuff and it was already built in. Well, but the thing was just steered like a boat. Okay, so I get to the top of one of these huge hills and it's over by the nature realm. And it's like one of those hills, one of those hills I was talking about where they say, they have a little sign, check your brakes. So I checked my brakes and found out they weren't working. So I tried the emergency brake. Well, that ain't working.
That weren't working either.
Try honking the horn. Well, that ain't working either. So I tried downshifting. Well, no, I don't want to budge. I'm like, oh shit. And so basically everybody that was in there, I told the kid that was sitting next to me, I said, stick your head out the window and wave at people. Let's say no brakes. Scream no brakes. That will get their attention, hopefully. And I will try to drive down. So I'm threading in and out between cars. And for God's sake, this is true. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, don't let me hit the cashew vendor at the bottom of the road, just like the movies. I'm thinking, oh, is this going to be like one of those movies where you cashew vendor and the cashews are flying everywhere? I'm like, oh God, help me, because down at the bottom, the road did not continue. It was a T intersection. I'm there like, oh, shit. Yeah, and this is down by where there's a lot of water. And once again, this is down where I'm there like, oh God, I don't want to have to swim, please. I wasn't sure what was quite beyond that T. There were some buildings and there were some, could be some, I'm like, what, I don't think at that time there was a building there, but anyway, so I'm there. Oh, please let the lights be with me or something, please. So I managed to get us down to the bottom of the hill, threaded around the cars that are honking at me. It was just absolutely crazy. Managed to get myself into a parking lot. And I thought, okay, here we go. And up ahead of me, there's a parking stopper, one of those concrete things, and there's a big concrete wall. And I'm like,
no.
Well, either this parking stopper will stop me or that wall will. Hopefully the parking stopper will at least slow me down. So, I'm praying the whole time, and I'm like, I go into the parking lot and I'm coming around. I go and I just aim for the parking stopper. Boop. I just bounced right off the parking stopper and we're stopped. Just before we would, like within another aisle, we would hit this wall. This concrete. And then everything stops and we all look at each other and we're like, we're alive. And the kid next to me, he looks at me and he goes, wow, that was cool. I'm like, yeah, that was really cool. I hope I never have to do anything.
Do that again. Yeah.
My whole life. I don't want to ever said, man, though, that was some driving. Wow. People were going, wow. And I said, well, next thing is, I said, I think I've determined that this is not our day to die.
Yeah, it wasn't your turn yet.
And here's the thing is, oh, hi, Boop. How you doing, Boop? Boop is in, Marilena.
Oh, hi, Marie.
And so, and now this is how crazy I was when I was younger, right? So I say, okay, now anybody, I'm sorry, but the brakes have failed. And as you know, the emergency brakes have failed. The horn doesn't work. And the only thing that does work is the motor. I'm going to have to get this thing, in order to get this thing to anywhere, I'm going to have to get it somehow up the hill. And I can't afford a tow truck to tow us all the way up the hill. It was another huge hill. And I said, so if I take this up the hill and the engine goes out for some reason, I'm going to have to do this all the way down again, only backwards. So for those of you who, and I'm crazy, like I'm thinking, when I think back on it, I was thinking, man, I was crazy. I'm going to have to drive this up that great big hill there. And I'm going to have to do, yeah, I said, so anybody who's not feeling lucky, get out now. Please, I don't want your life on my hands. You know, I don't want your life on my head, but I'm going to drive this up there because I don't feel like I'm going to die today.
Yeah.
So I actually drove that sucker up the hill, and you know, nobody got out.
Oh, they were brave.
Nobody got out. And I'm like, okay, everybody's feeling lucky. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm making noise.
My guardian angel does this a lot, you know, does the face palm a lot, like, oh my God, what?
I can't let her die today.
Yeah, I died another day, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I died another day when I had been warned that that was the time period. My husband sent me out anyway, which I never quite trusted him after that.
Uh-oh. I
Never
think you
quite
always
trusted.
kind of had a question about that one anyway.
I had a question about it. Yeah, I had to then question, why did he insist that I go out that day? So anyway, anyway, the clearings. Now that Boop is here, let's do the clearings.
Mm-hmm.
Since Boop is here, okay, the clearings. And
Okay,
we
well, Dave,
laugh.
I know we did. I'm going to hop off so I can go back in the chat, okay?
Okay,
We'll do
thank
this
you for
again
that.
another
That was a great. Those were great stories.
Thank you.
I loved them. I want more like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, make
I
them up.
probably could come
No,
up
I'm
with a
not.
few more.
Come in here with some more real, true life, weird stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Okay. All right. We'll see you later.
Okay. Night. See you.
Night.
Boops is here. Yes, it is. This is a blessing. Yes. It is our Boop. I live in the swampland. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, Barry is Swamp Thing. Nah. Quick, mama, pull my big toe. Hell no. I have trust issues. That was a wonderful call, Pam. Come in anytime and regale us with more stories. As a matter of fact, any of us. Can't wait to hear them. This is more like old times, isn't it, folks? Yes, we're back on track. As I think of it, we're always on course, even though it looks like we diverge a little bit. We always are flying true. So I think we are being guided, really. Here's the clearings, and as usual, these are from Access Consciousness. So the way that we do these clearings is I will ask a question just to bring up the energy. Now, that question, that first initial question, or set of questions, you don't have to answer. You just have to let that bring up the energy. Think about what I'm asking, let the energy come up. That's all you have to do. The only question you have to answer is when I say, would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? That one you need to answer. And if you want it to happen, yes, you need to say yes. That's all you need to do. And the statement will take care of the rest. So this is, if you want to look at it in a matrixy way of looking at it. Oh, is Ken coming in? Okay, good. Good day, Ken. If you want to look at it from the viewpoint of the matrix, what we are doing is rewriting some code. Okay, we are going to delete some bad code. Okay, so you can think of it that way too. We're about to delete, and I'm going to show you how to delete some bad code. Really, you can use the same formula and just say POC and POD or POD and BUCK. It still works. You can do the same basic formula, just say POC and POD. And it stands for clearing statement. You don't even have to know the whole clearing statement. Although, if you go to the Access Consciousness site, they do have a page that explains everything about it. But you don't even have to know it. It will work anyway. And yes, it is magic. Hello, Aaron. How you doing? Okay, so here it is, and here's what I have to delete, what we really need to delete. And if anybody else thinks of anything that, if it brings up anything that you think we need to delete, we will delete it tonight, okay? So we're deleting bad code tonight. You can think of it that way, okay? Good to see you, Aaron. POC and POD. POC and POD. Okay. So you can just say POC and POD when the time comes, when the right time comes. And it's kind of like abracadabra, right? Which is really, now that I think about it, that's probably how some of this started. You see, that stands for pages and pages of a clearing statement. And when you have all of that, you can either take the Crowley method and go on for an hour, read a spell for, I mean, that's what they did in the high ritual magic. They'd be reading these huge spell statement things, I mean, that was the way that they rolled. But it's like, no, so much easier. It's almost like, what's that site, Bitly, that you can take this huge long URL and shorten it to something or other .ly and make it a much shorter thing, but it stands for the same thing and it'll take you to the same place. Okay, that's what we're doing. When you say POC and POD, you're putting the code on something like Bitly, and it'll take you to that place anyway. So you don't have to come up with that really long URL. So you can think of it kind of like that. Okay? Yeah, no open flames around Barry. We don't want to torch the forest. Okay. So for this, okay, now let me get into the zone here for a minute. Okay. POC and POD. All you say is POC and POD. That's all it is. And when I ask you, just say yes if you want it to happen. Okay? So now, what attitudes, opinions, and judgments, and it always starts out like that, what attitudes, opinions, and judgments, because it is all our attitudes, opinions, and judgments, do I have? I'm just going to go for it here. Don't get scared. Think about what you were like as a teenager or a kid or something when you were really embarrassed. I just want to die. I can't stand it. I just want to die. Or some of you might have said that even more recently. What energy does that bring up? Oh, I just want to die. I just can't stand it. I'm so embarrassed. I could just die. Okay. Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? And at this point, I need an answer. And if you answer yes, we shall proceed. And actually, I shall proceed anyway. Those of you who do not want that, to delete that and want to continue, if you have that in there, I can't imagine why you would. But if you want it to continue, that is a choice. That is a free will choice. And you can just say nothing and not agree. This gives you a choice. See, we always have to give people a choice. So, I just want to die. That attitude, what attitude, opinion, judgment do you have that I just want to die? Oh, I'm so embarrassed I could die. Oh, I could just die. Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Okay. And I'm going to assume that you gave an answer. Okay. Times a godzillion, which is such a big number. We might have said it, what, millions of times in our lives? Okay. Times a godzillion. I'm even going to say times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Once again, what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that it would be better if we died, if we were just gone, if we just didn't exist, that it's just too hard here. It's just, I can't take it. I want to be gone. I want to die. Okay? What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have to that effect that would be anything like that? Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Just answer a simple yes, if so. If not, you need to say nothing. Okay. We now uncreate and destroy all that. Times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. And I'm doing this in several different ways to make sure we get it all, or as much of it as we possibly can. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that the world would just be a better place without us, that that we'd be better off just passed on, that the next world is really the only world. We don't belong here. We're out of place. We don't belong here. What are we doing here? That's a little different. Why don't we just leave? I just want to leave. I just want to go. I just want to be gone. I want it to be over. I want it to all end. I want it to all be over. Okay, what does that bring up? Okay. Would we be willing? Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Times a godzillion. Times godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong. Pock and pod. All nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. Now, in the bigger picture, what attitudes, opinions, and judgments, and by the way, people are just so willing to give you these attitudes, opinions, and judgments. You don't even have to come up with them on your own. People are just loving to give you these, especially these days. And when I was a kid, we got this too. I've had this all my life. Like I said, we've been gaslit our whole damn life. That what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we'd be better off, that the earth would just be better off without us? That the earth would be better off without us, without humans, if we never had been, if humans didn't exist, if we'd all just poof. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have about that? Bring all that up. I know we had a lot of, we were fed a lot of them. It's not true, by the way. It wouldn't be better. There are even movies that try to convince you that it would be better, but it wouldn't be. It is the way it needed to be. Okay, there is a reason we're here. So, but what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do you have that the earth would be better off without humans, that humans are a cancerous plague, pox, dangerous, need to go, would be better off without us, would be better if we didn't exist, etc., etc., all of that stuff, okay? Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, buck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Just by bringing it up, it's starting to loosen it up. Okay. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that mutually assured destruction and being armed at the teeth, that we have to have that's the only way to keep the peace, that somehow we're all going to die in some horrible catastrophe because that's just fate, and we just have all of these, nuclear weapons, or maybe it'll be plasma storms, or maybe it'll be a comet, or maybe it'll be murder hornets, or maybe it'll be anything that is just a horrible catastrophe, and we're all going to die that way. The poles will shift, we'll all freeze to death, there'll be a big flood, and we'll all drown. And that's the way it's going to end because we were told that's the way it's going to end, and we've been told that's the way it's going to end since we were little. And so it's in our mind that that's the way it's going to. No, it doesn't have to end that way. If you decide that you don't want it to end that way, that you want that gone, erased, flattened, okay. So what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do you have that's the way it's going to end, or that's the way it's got to end, or that would be better if it ended that way? Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? You can just say yes if you want it. Okay. We now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion times a godzillion. Good and bad. Right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we have no chance of making it off this planet because we don't have the resources? We're not going to have enough resources to do that. It's impossible. We're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. We're stuck here, and we're going to die out here. And one way or another, humans are just too violent and too whatever, anything, fill in the blank, and somehow we're going to kill ourselves off. Or somebody else will, or something else will. Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all of those attitudes, opinions, and judgments? Okay. We now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, puck and putt, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. That's the ones that I was feeling were the heaviest. Anybody got any more? If you've got any more, please type them, and I will make a clearing that addresses it. And we'll do this more. If you want more of them, come up with them, post them here, or post them in MeWe, send me a private message, and we will come up with the clearing statements. And don't forget, sometimes the more personal you make it, the more universal it will be. Okay? That that's funny advice, but it's so true. When I'm writing songs, and I don't even know who told me that. It might even have been one of the passed on guys, one of the passed on musicians that's crossed my path spiritually. But I hear that a lot. I keep hearing it echoing in my mind. Remember, the more personal you make it, the more universal it will be, and it has never failed. So, if you can come up with something that you feel we need to clear, please let me know. And we will do that for the whole group, or we'll do it just for you. I don't mind. I don't mind running these clearings. As a matter of fact, they were given to me freely, and I will pass them on freely. This knowledge of how to do this and this clearing statement was given to me freely. And I absolutely will pay it forward, pass it on. Okay. And okay, Aaron. Yeah. Um, because yeah, peace, Aaron. Have a good one. Okay. So those were the ones that I felt were very, 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 very negative, that heavy, and that were the most upfront, because I know a lot of us have been horrifically depressed and felt like we were weirdos that didn't belong here, that we just were, square peg in a round hole or something, or a round peg in a square hole, or maybe we were a star-shaped peg in a square hole. I don't know, something like that. And sometimes we were just so harassed that we just didn't want to be here. Or we came and we looked around and we said, okay, this place is cray cray. I don't want to be here. A lot of us, a lot of us feel that way. A lot of us have felt that way at some point, even though a lot of us maybe have realized that that's not good thinking, that is stinking thinking. You thought it at some point, and if you ever thought it, it was a vibration that went out into the world. But now we have flattened it, and this is great. Oh, yes. Okay, letting go of unhealthy attachments. Well, I don't know if you were hearing it, Micah, but it's interesting that right after I started working with all this selenite and the black, and it is funny how they look like black wings, the kyanite. The black kyanite looks like feathered, wings, and like some of them look like heads of birds, or I have to show you some of the ones I found that just look like they were maybe black dragons or black birds. After I'm working with those, and then all of a sudden, some things come to a head and go pop, and it's all over. Uh, and the attachment is broken. And then things get better. And that's happened in more than one, not just one way. There's been some other things that have happened that go along with that. And I hope it's happening with you too. So once again, remind me if you were trying to order some. I have been trying to get myself together to mail it out. I am getting them mailed out slowly, and I really appreciate everybody that has been patient with me. Because remember, this isn't I wasn't considering being a business. This is just something that I felt we all needed to share, and I could use a little bit of income, and that we could use. Boy, is it working good for me. Okay. Much classier. Well, Mike is a classy guy. Okay. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have, that we need to hold on to these people, that there's something we can do about them, that we can somehow drag them up with us? These unhealthy attachments, that somehow we have to cling to them, somehow we have to take care of them, nurture them, or whatever, somehow have to stay attached, somehow have to share our energy with them because they can't seem to get it for themselves. Any of that. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we have to linger in that energy ever? Because remember, everybody makes their own choices, especially if they've had an opportunity for it to be different and they haven't taken it. We have to be able to accept that they have not taken their opportunity, that that is their decision, and we can't take that away from them. If we do, we're taking their free will, and taking somebody's free will away is black magic, and I don't dabble in that, so I will not take your free will away. I will give you a chance to say yes or no, or maybe, or I'll think about it, but I will do this clearing because I know that there are many of us who have made many attachments to people that we shouldn't have, people, places, and things that are really dragging us down, that really sap our energy, and that really are vampiric in nature to a big extent. And a lot of us have tried, but we just couldn't budge that. Well, it's not yours to budge then. If you can't budge it, maybe somewhere down the road, without your energy feeding into it, they will decide that they are tired of that life and find some way out of it, or out of that darkness, or out of that whatever it is they're doing, unhealthiness, whatever. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Okay? It really isn't your fault when people make a choice like that. It's their choice. We have to honor it even though we don't like it. So, wish it was different. And I've had to do it with loved ones. Oh my goodness. And with people that I haven't loved, but they've somehow become attached to me. It's like, oh my God. Okay. So what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we somehow need to stay attached to these people to help them, even when it's pretty clear that they're just siphoning energy, even when it's pretty clear that they're not being helped, even when it's pretty clear that they not really making the decision to change themselves? Why do we feel we have to be attached? What are our attitudes, opinions, and judgments about staying attached to these people, places, and things? Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Would you be willing to uncreate and destroy all of that? We now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do you have that you must save everyone that you come in contact with that is dark or having problems or whatever, that you must personally save everybody? You must personally be there to save them all, because a lot of us somehow get that impression, and that we must sacrifice ourselves. And what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do you have that you must somehow sacrifice yourself and sacrifice your happiness to do that, to help these people who are in darkness? The savior complex, otherwise known as. Gee, wasn't there a guy who was supposed to have already done that? Well, yeah, they tell us there was. So why do we feel we have to do that? If that's right, okay, I'm not going to tell you whether it's right or not, but I am going to say, why do we feel we have to do that? People make their choices. And it's their choice. So, what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have about this? Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Okay. We now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, buck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. You are a classy bitch, Micah. Well, not exactly, but you're classy. Anyway. um, okay. Anybody else have anything else like that? Or maybe you want it said just maybe a little different way. Think maybe it needs to be said a little bit different way, or maybe there's just a little bit of different energy that we need to bring up on that. But really, just acknowledging that it exists in there in you and bringing it up will help to clear it. Well, good for you, Barry. Classless and weird. Okay. If you like it, good for you. You see how I am with that? It's like, okay. Changing our attitudes towards money. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Boy, do we get asked to do that a lot. That one comes up so often. We must have taken vows of poverty so many times. So many times. And yes, we've been told all our lives how evil money is. Although you should strive for it and get it anyway. And it's a great thing, except it's horrible. And it'll make you a bad person. Filthy lucre. Root of all evil. Yeah. Right. Yep. We're really confused about that, aren't we? Aren't we just busy being confused? Like, you need money to live. You need money to do this and that. You need money to upgrade your life. No, you need to be poor and you need to take a vow of poverty. And you, it's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that poverty equals sanctity and holiness and all that? And what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that money's the root of all evil? Even moreover, that I can't handle money. I don't understand money like anybody really understands money entirely. I mean, all you got to know is they print it when they feel like it, right? And they use it to trick you a lot. You might as well have money. You might as well, who understands money? If you can get it on a leash working for you, whatever. Understanding it is not as necessary as being able to manipulate it, right? So what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we even have that we even need to entirely understand it in order to manipulate it? Can't we manipulate it? I mean, I can't tell you everything that goes on in the engine of a car when I turn on the key, but I can manipulate that car. What if we could drive money just like we could drive a car without even knowing what the heck is going on in there under the hood? What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we can't do that? Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? We now uncreate and destroy all that Times a godzillion, times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Ah. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we need to support, keep, or nurture, or help, or do anything, have anything to do with toxic attachments and relationships, or systems for that matter, or groups, or any of that? Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? You know, uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, times godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. One more time, just to make sure we got it. Good and bad, right and wrong, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay. If Richard is taken off, see you, Richard, or Barry, or whoever's going. Whoever's going, good night and dream well. Or enjoy the next chat. I don't know which you're going to. Okay. Yeah, don't forget to brush your nose hairs. Want them nice and clean. Okay. So is there anything else we need to handle tonight? Yeah, I figured it out. It's Barry. He's taken off. Okay. Anything else you want to clear tonight, just let me know. Bring it up in chat. And if this presentation ends and you think of some later, we can do it again. We can do this anytime. This doesn't drain me at all. This is not draining at all. Yes. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that money just can't come to us easily? Just doesn't work like that. That we got to work hard, that we got to put in our blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of effort. And some people don't have it that way, do they? Some people are just doing something they love, and the money is just coming to them because the vibe is there. Okay. So what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that money's hard to make? It's hard to come by. We got to work hard. We got to put in the time and the effort and slave away and all that bullshit. What kind of attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have concerning all that? Okay, would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? We now uncreate and destroy all that. Times a godzillion, times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds. Wow, all those big words, Bomber. Bomber just like dove right into the dictionary to come up with this one. There you go. Okay. People's cognitive dissonance concerning serious matters that they are directly connected to. I'm not going to go into details, but yeah. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have? Do we have to be affected by other people's cognitive dissonance concerning serious matters that they are directly connected to? Or anybody's cognitive dissonance at all? What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we have to be affected by people's ignorance? lack of caring, apathy, or anything like that. And other people's thoughts, especially dark or destructive thoughts. Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? You know, uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes. Okay. How about other people's choices, period? How about what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that somehow we have to just live with other people's choices? We can't do anything about it. Would you like to uncreate and destroy all that? Good, me too. We now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, times a godzillion. Good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Yes. I'll sit here and wait. If nobody has anything left, then we'll get busy concluding, and I will, in the meantime, while you're thinking up some stuff, I will announce that this weekend is spring and the vernal equinox, and it's a very special time for me, and I would love to celebrate spring with all kinds of happy things. That's why I'm trying to do all these clearings beforehand. Get the dark stuff out of the way so that we can enjoy all the fun stuff that's coming. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that our efforts have failed towards making a better future, or that we're off course, or that things can never be right again, that things have gone wrong and can never be right again, and that somehow it's our fault or even partially our fault. Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? We now uncreate and destroy all that, good and bad, right and wrong, times a godzillion, times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. People have tried to make me feel like their choices were all my fault. Okay. Well, let's see. How would we ask that in the form of a question to flatten that right out? How would we erase that? How could we word that? See, part of the reason this is an art is you got to figure out how to word it. To fit the parameters. This eraser tool. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we don't really know anything about love? We can't know anything about love. We're never going to have true love. True love isn't in our path. It's not coming to us. We can't possibly find it. It's too complicated. It's too hard. There's nobody around that fits. There's just, it's just never going to happen. We're just never going to find true love. We're never going to find it. I know this isn't exactly what you asked, but this is part of it. We have to figure out exactly how to ask it, but this is a good one too. You got to admit. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have? That we can't find true love, we can't know true love, we can't have true love, we can't sustain true love, we can't, there's nobody around that would possibly ever be able to do that, or be able to give us that, or be able to any of that we just can't have it for some reason. It's just not in the cards for us. It's just not in fate. It's not our fate to have love in every area of our life. Okay? Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Okay, we now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Okay. Now remember, it might take a little time for some of this to work out, or it might be instantaneous. Because sometimes when you really clear something all the way, it can just be overnight. Things change. Okay? And sometimes it happens that fast. As soon as you change your mind, the world changed. Boom. And you must be prepared for that. And you must sometimes be prepared for waiting. And sometimes you must be prepared that maybe in a lot of lives, in a lot of ways, and Lord knows how many that's been, that you have said this so many times that we have to dig a little deeper to get it out. But we have started, we have begun, and at least half the journey is just to begin. Okay? I have proved that many times. My back room, total chaos, complete chaos. My helper was saying, that's it, you got to get rid of 90% of this stuff. It's never gonna, we're never even gonna see the floor. I said, hold up, sister, hold up. This is like art equipment and stuff, and no, I'm not going to get rid of it until it becomes product and goes flying out of here as a finished product, because it's just too damn expensive to get it all over again. I don't want to have to, and it's trouble and expense, and we're just going to sort it out, and it's going to work out somehow, and we're going to see the floor. All we have to do is just sort it out, and it'll be fine. And sure enough, when she listened to me, and I don't know, I must be some kind of genius, but now we've got a great big patch of floor back there, and we're gaining on it. So since I got my energy back, we've been going in leaps and bounds on that. So it can happen. So actually, that's a spring cleaning thing too. What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we just can't unclutter our lives? It's just too hard. That there's just too much clutter. That we can't turn it into anything useful, and it's just all, it's never going to happen. We're never going to get ourselves and our lives and our places adjusted so that they're comfortable and graceful and reflective of our real personality and our real preferences. And okay, would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? Okay, we now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, puck and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. There you go. Okay, how about this? What attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have that we should feel guilty about anything that we did with good intentions. Anything at all. Should we really feel guilty about anything we had good intentions about? No. Even though the road to hell is paved with good intentions sometimes, do we feel guilty that we had all the best intentions and it still didn't work out? No, you made your best try, didn't you? You tried. You tried. It just didn't work. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it wasn't your fault that it didn't work. Maybe it was choices somebody else made or set up. Yeah, maybe somebody else had it all set up and there was no way it was ever you were ever going to change it for them. But you can change it for you. Yeah, you can. And you have to be your first responsibility. When that mask drops, you have to put it over your own face, the oxygen mask, before you put it on somebody else's. So, live to fight another day, as they say. You have to save yourself, and then they have to make their choices. That's the way it has to be. And you're not really responsible for any more than that. You're not responsible at all. But if you made a try, good on you. Some people wouldn't bother to even have made the try. They would have just walked away and left the person there. So, yeah, guilt is really rough. It's a rough one. We mentally abuse ourselves all the time with guilt. We do. We mentally flagellate ourselves constantly with guilt a lot of times because we want to be perfect and we think we got to be perfect and we think we got to be right and we think we got to be true and nice and good and kind and holy and whatever it is we think we got to be. So we beat ourselves up all the time thinking we could have done better, we should have done better, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? If you put forth your effort and it just didn't happen, maybe it just couldn't, maybe it just wasn't meant to, maybe somebody else decided it wasn't going to, and this is not your fault. So would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all those attitudes we have about guilt and having to feel guilty about this stuff? Okay? Yeah. Okay, so we now uncreate and destroy all that times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, pock and pothole, nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Well, psychological warfare is, boy, I can't even list the amount of times. My parents were really good. My parents were pretty good at it. And I had other people in my life that were really, really good at it. Yeah. If I were evil, there'd be some people that would, oh boy. It's a good thing I'm a good shaman, not an evil one. That's all I can say. I'm not going to go any farther. Okay, now. Oh, lying, being cheated on. Yeah, if I were evil, the world would really have to worry. As I could do some shit, let me tell you. Yeah. There are people that have been trying to make me feel guilty. You know what? I have been frequently made to feel like I was wrong for standing up for myself or for the right thing. Made to feel like it was the wrong thing to do to stand up for something when my heart told me it was the right thing to do. So, what attitudes, opinions, and judgments do we have? That if we stand up for ourselves, or if we stand up for the right, or if we stand up for the truth, or if we stand up for what our heart tells us we need to stand up for, if we do that, that we're going to be punished and humiliated, that we're going to be rejected, that we're going to be somehow terrible consequences will ensue, that somehow we will be sacrificed. Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all that? I know I would. Wow, that feels real heavy too. That we're going to be punished for doing the right thing, that we're always punished for doing the right thing, and that no good deed goes unpunished. Would we be willing to uncreate and destroy all of that? Okay. We now uncreate and destroy all of that. Times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, POC and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Right. Right. You know, eh, you don't have to be a perfect person to be a good person. You can make mistakes, but they're not really mistakes. There really aren't mistakes. They're learning situations. We see them as mistakes. But in reality, stuff has to happen sometimes. Not just for our learning, but for their learning, for somebody else's learning. Maybe we made some kind of an agreement that we'd come in here to teach other people something. Maybe it's not always us. Yeah. So, really, hi, Lewis, by the way. When I get rolling, sometimes I don't see people come in because I'm just seeing. You know what, Micah? If she asks you for an honest answer and then she gets mad at you because you honestly answer her, that should be her own fault. Now, you don't have to go up to an ugly person and say, gee, you're ugly. Or, gee, your hat is on crooked. Or, gee, that is an ugly sweater. But if they ask you sincerely, no, is this an ugly sweater? And you say, I'm sorry, but I think it is. Is it your fault? No. Okay. You can refrain from saying some things, maybe. That's not exactly lying, is it? Or maybe you can say things very politely. That's another thing. So, hey, if you call me fat, I'll say, yeah, so what? Captain Obvious. Hey, you're fat. All right. Yeah, what about it, Captain Obvious? Sure I am. Sure. I, I'm totally over it. If you, if you don't like the way I look somewhere else. I don't care. It's not my problem. Some people love the way I look. Some people love the way I look so much that they're stalking me. I'm not kidding. I still have stalkers. I'm 63 and obviously overweight. But I guess I have a rockin' personality and I still have a pretty face. And a vibrant smile, even though my teeth are kind of messed up. Um, you know, you don't have to lie. You don't have to bring it up. Yes, we do need to practice good neurolinguistics. It's called neurolinguistics. Boop. Yeah, I'd rather just not say anything. Or if if they are asking, does this make my butt look fat? You have to consider, is it a white woman or a black woman asking you? I'm not being racist. I'm really not. But if it's a white woman, no matter what, you should always say, oh no, baby, no, look just fine. And if you're a black woman, if it's a black woman rather, you should always say, hell yeah, baby, that thing is bumping, it's rocking, you bet. Those two answers are always right, depending on whether she's white or black. Yeah, pathological liars. It's not your fault, though. And if you call them out on it, it's not your fault either. And yeah, I know. I had an aunt that was a pathological liar. How well do I know? Yeah, I know. She couldn't tell the truth. She just couldn't. And she was also a kleptomaniac. She was a lot of fun. Yeah. She actually was a very nice person, had a big heart, but she couldn't keep from stealing and she couldn't keep from lying. Actually, that was back in the 50s, Micah. I think that expired a while back. Oh, thank you, Lewis. Yeah, Lucid sent me this. Lucid sent me the dragon hat with the glowing eyes. So, yep, that expired back in the 50s. We don't do that anymore. It's like the only opinion that matters is yours, because you know what? If you have a good opinion of yourself, you will be attractive regardless, and people won't even know why. If we all had the right vibe going on about ourselves, we'd never have to worry about any of that because we'd be attractive regardless. You know, there are people who are pretty but ugly that are still somehow attractive. Because what, their personality or something? Maybe their money. I don't know. Maybe they have a lot of money. But but yeah, there are people who are not particular. There are people who are not really don't have really a good voice, but they're singers. I mean, think of all the people who have kind of a raspy voice and they just kind of scream to the music. People still like them. You know, it's one of those things. If you have the right attitude about yourself, it doesn't matter if you're thick or thin or black or white or old or young or whatever. You'll radiate that opinion and other people will pick up the vibe. And if I'm high energy, high vibing, and I go into a place, yeah, it's like all bets are off as to whether or not somebody wants to come up and chat me up and maybe get my number. But well, what are my options? Yeah, I get admired for just being there. That's right. There are gold diggers around, oh sure. Well, see, that's the thing, Bomber. There's this thing in the black community that the bigger the butt, the better on a woman. They want a woman with a big butt. Women actually get butt implants to have a bigger butt because they like big butts. They like curvy women. They like women that got it going on, you know, as far as that's concerned. I mean, you never heard the Sir Mix-a-Lot? I like big butts. That's the real thing. There's some guys that just love a girl with a great big huge butt. Great big bubble butt. It's true. And there are some people that like bald guys, and there are some people that like fat guys because they're nice and squishy and feel like a teddy bear. And I mean, you know, there are people that like everything. I mean, I had a guy that I was never real thin, but I was thinner and I've been heavier and thinner and heavier and thinner all my life because I got put on the diet mill, and that will put you on a roller coaster that will completely wreck your metabolism. So eventually nothing works. So, um, ah, yeah, I would say, Lewis, maybe I'd pass on that one. Maybe I'd pass on that one, Pilgrim. You know, here's a big hint. I may have the frugal bitch do this one, but uh, if it runs from you, it's not yours, really, guys. Think about it. Even if you got a dog or a cat or anything, and you call it and say, "Come here and get some loving," and it comes to you, then it wants some loving, right? But if it runs away from you, then I hate to tell you, but it don't want none, right? And you know, if you got a cat and you try to pet it when it don't want none, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get scratched or something. You're gonna be pulling back a bloody stump, maybe. Because that's the way it is. So here's a great way to tell if she's yours or not. Hey, baby, you want to get together? And she's like, oh, I'm busy. I'm washing my hair. I'm doing this. And that. Usually she's not playing hard to get. Okay. She's not interested. There's a difference between being polite and being interested. I'll have to tell you a story about that. I'll have the bitch tell you a story about that. She'll bitch about it. Okay. I had a guy ask me if I wanted to go touring with him. And I'm there like, what? And he says, oh, it took too long. No, you don't want to. And it's like, that's right. I don't know you. So, random people out of nowhere. You know what? I've had random guys out of nowhere and just say, would you please teach me how to kiss? That one said. It's like, fuck no, you could have mono. No, that was when I was younger. It was like, could you please teach me how to kiss? And I was like, no, I don't know you that well. I don't want to. Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. If it runs away from you, it's not yours. She's not playing. Don't be Pepe Le Pew. I'm sorry. We've been talking about how they're cutting off Pepe Le Pew. The cancel culture is canceling Pepe Le Pew. But honestly, I don't see why we don't need to keep that around to remind people that this is a bad idea. Because if anything, that cartoon illustrates what it's like to be a person who is being chased by somebody they want nothing to do with. Pepe Le Pew is a lesson to us all. And it's not just guys who do this to women. Women do it to men too. And if you, especially if you're an entertainer, my God, if you're a musician, oh my God, does this happen all the time? Male, female, doesn't matter. There were women chasing me, there were men chasing me. Honest to God. When you're a musician, and because I sing, and there's something about that music that it gets into people's hearts, you see, and they start feeling love. Because I'm radiating love out while I'm singing. I'm radiating my feelings out. And they think they're in love. And they think that I must be in love with them too. So be aware of that. Right. And actually, that is something that Trivedi said. And Trivedi's literally a miracle worker. He has worked literal miracles, making fruit trees multiply their fruit 3 times over. Ailing and sick ones become healthy. Animals, ailing and sick ones become healthy. I mean, he says he just connects them with the God of their understanding. But one of the stories he told was he'd say, you know what? People have to understand. He says, okay, say you're a guy, there are 12 girls in a room. You go to the first girl and she says, you talk to her and she goes, no, I'm not interested. And she's like, not interested. And you talk to the next girl and no, she's not really interested. He says, unless you move on and talk to all of those girls, you may never know that that 12th one is your soulmate. So don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. If you get rejected by the one you thought you wanted, don't get stuck. That 12th girl might be your soulmate, and you never even talked to her. Guess what? Soon after that he was announcing he was getting married to his soulmate. So I think he must have been right about that. If they're not yours, they are not yours. Move on. Move on. Move on. Don't get discouraged. Don't decide. I have seen so many people do this. It must be them. It has to be them. It's you. It's you. Only you. Well, I know what I want, and I'm sure I can get it. It's like, no, 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 no. That's not the way it works. No, you fish around until you find it. You fish around until you find a fish that wants to get caught. Otherwise, forget it. You know, women do the same damn thing. Women do it all the time. Men do it all the time. They all do it. Yeah, it's like no means no. No means no. No means no. No means no. Okay? And if she says no, it generally means no. And if she runs, see, any girl that's really into you, she wants to be with you. Is that so hard to understand? She'll want to be with you. She'll want to give you her number. She'll want you to, she'll say, hey, I'm going to go XYZ, want to go do that or something. It's like there aren't really any mixed messages. Really not. And sometimes maybe people just like you and want to be friends. Think you'd be a neat friend, but not a lover. Don't sit there and think every single person that comes down your path might be the one. But then again, they might. You might find out that they are, but they're not gonna run if they are. What's yours doesn't run. Your kitty cat, your dog. Just think about it. Hey, come over here and get your belly rubbed. And they go, sure, let me get my belly rubbed. I love you. It's easy. I think that's why people get along so well with animals. So uncomplicated. It's so easy to tell. Either they want to be loved or they don't. Either they love you or they don't, right? It's so obvious. They don't try and hold it back, do they? It's either yeah or stay away from me. I'm not into it right now. Cats are real good at that. It's like stay away from me. I'm not into it right now. Because sometimes they're not. And sometimes I found out why sometimes. Long-haired cats, particularly in the winter or at certain seasons, they get shocked when you touch them. And they'll act, no, please don't touch me right now. I know I'm going to get shocked. It's to them, it's like you attacked them. So, that can happen. But really, with people, it should be obvious. Okay, I am going to tell this story. There was an art fair, right? And there were these people that I would eat lunch with all the time. And they all kind of knew each other, but not well. And this guy would try to talk to this girl, and she wouldn't talk to him very much. She was always polite, though. I noticed that, but she wasn't really trying to get his number or anything, although he was trying to give it to her. So then she comes in from the art fair. Everybody attended the art fair. It was the only one at that time in town. And she comes in and she says, oh my God, I found out that guy is such a creep. What guy? That one? Yeah, that one. He's such a creep. He's a freaking stalker. I swear, he was sitting at the art fair waiting for me to show up. He came right over to me. I hadn't even been in the door a minute. He came right over to me. He tried to start a conversation. I answered him, and then I walked away, and then he followed me, and then I walked away again, and he followed me again. He followed me all over the darn place. He followed me all over the darn place. It was horrible trying to start a conversation, and I kept trying to get away from him, and he just wouldn't leave me alone. And then I went over to listen to the music, and he had to sit right beside me and try to talk to me while I'm trying to listen to the music. And then I got up and I moved, and he got up and he moved right beside me, and he was still trying to talk to me, and I was just trying to listen to the music. And I finally I was so miserable. I got up and got out of there. He is such a creep. Okay, so that was her experience, right? So she takes off. Here he comes. Hey, have you seen so and so? We had a really nice day at the art show. I happened to bump into her at the art show. We had such a nice day together. And I'm like, what? And then he says, I saw her on the way out the door and she wouldn't even speak to me. I don't know what happened. I said, well, she told me that you stalked her all the way through the art show. And he goes, what? I thought we were having a nice day together. He says, now I'm really hurt. I guess I totally misread that. I said, yes, I guess you totally did. Went right over his head. Every sign and clue went right over his head. Why? Wishful thinking, I think. I think it was all wishful thinking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God, no. I heard in kind of a roundabout way that I was kind of getting roasted a little bit too, but I'm not giving it any energy at all. F it. Hey, Olin, how you doing? So, if she's not yours, she's not yours. If he's not yours, he's not yours. If he says he's not yours, he's not yours. If she runs, they're not yours. You shouldn't pursue. Don't pursue. They're not playing hard to get. They're trying to get away from you. You know? And some people are just too damn polite to say fuck off. And then some people are just so, just, you know, they can't even figure it out when the person does say fuck off. I mean, the person says fuck off, and they still think, oh, she's just playing hard to get. He's just playing hard to get. They'll love me in time. I'll give them some gifts. They'll love me in time. It's like a feral cat. You know what? They're not a feral cat that you need to save. Okay? They're not. They're people. Pepe Le Pew. Don't be Pepe Le Pew. Take it as a cautionary tale. Okay? Take it as a cautionary tale. I don't know, man. Olin's here. Oh my gosh, what a celebrity. I know I'm doing well. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, it's like When I tell a guy, I'm not in, there is a guy, and I swear, and he says, well, maybe you'll be interested in me. I bought this place and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I'm never going to be interested in you. I'm never, ever, ever going to be interested in you. And I said, I really doubt it. When he said, oh, you may be interested in me because I'm doing that, I said, no, I'm sorry. It's never going to work out. I said it right out. It's never going to work out. He's still at it. Last I heard. It's never going to work between us because you're not really my type. I'm not interested. I'm just too polite to deck you. Okay? I'm too polite to just deck you where you stand and call a cop and say this guy has been stalking me. I'm too nice for that. So please listen to me when I say, no, I'm not interested. I will never be interested. Please take me at my word, because I don't want to have to be mean. I don't want to have to be, I don't want to have to hurt you. I really don't. I'd rather you just go away and find somebody you actually like that really likes you too. That would be nice. I would be happy with that. You'd be off of my back, right? It's like, geez. Yeah, I love Bugs Bunny. Yeah, Pepe Le Pew. Oh, my chérie, your eyes, your lips. Come with me to the Casbah. And all she's trying to do is get away from him. All she's trying to do. The whole cartoon is all about her trying to get away and him and him saying, oh, she is just playing hard to get. No, Pepe, she is not. She's not playing hard to get. She is not a skunk. You're a skunk. You should find another skunk. If that's girl skunk, yeah, I'm sure she'd be interested. But you're different. You're different. She's just not in you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't make her have to haul off and knife you. Don't do it. Don't make him have to kick you to the curb harshly. Don't make them have to do something mean just to give you the hint instead of a hint to make it just like, don't go that far. I have felt in love with people that weren't in love with me. I've felt unrequited love. It feels horrible. It's so hard to think of anybody else. But here's another thought, and something I can tell you from personal experience, and some of you know this already. If you feel that you're causing the other person grief and you really are in love with them, and it really is love, if it is really love, and you are causing them some kind of grief, pain, or discomfort, you will remove yourself out of love, because that's what love does. Okay? I know, because I've done it. If I think somebody's going to be hurt that I love because I'm around, or that I'm hurting them somehow, I'll leave. Because that's what love does. Even if you're going to be miserable about it. Now, you don't want to do that if that's not really what's happening. Sometimes what you think is happening is not what's happening. Sometimes when you think you're the one that's at fault, it's like you're not the one that's causing the grief. But honestly, if you are driving them up a wall and you know it, as much as it breaks your heart, if it's really love, you will leave. And that is the truth, because that is what love does. You will respect that person and love that person enough to want them to be happy, even if it's in somebody else's arms. It's like that song. When a man loves a woman, it's hard to understand. He leaves if he thinks she'll be happier in the arms of another man. So take a letter, Maria, address it to my wife, make a copy for my lawyer, gonna start a new life. Also, here's another one. I'll be there. Okay, you want somebody else? I'll wait. If you ever decide that that ain't the one, I'll be here. Just that's love. Yeah, that's acceptable. So, yeah, you want them to be happy. If you really love someone, even if it's with another person, and it will maybe you'll feel like you're dying, but you will do it because you love them and you want them to be happy. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, that's the truth. So, if that's not you, that isn't love. That isn't really love. Yep, sorry. It wasn't love. No. It was desire, not love. There. That's how you tell. Bingo. Boop. Got up. If you're willing to let them go because you love them, if you are willing to stand back and watch them be with somebody else and be happy, then that was love. That's love. Okay, that's it. Now you know. Guess what? I'll tell you something else. Frogs don't become princes. Hardly ever. You hear a story maybe in 10 million, just enough to give you hope, but no. Frogs usually stay frogs. They do. That's it. Frogs stay frogs. They don't suddenly transform into a prince or a princess, or not too often, no. I think that might have been one of the biggest lies we were ever told, the biggest con jobs we've ever had, the biggest gaslighting we've ever had is that you should kiss a lot of frogs hoping that they turn into princes, and it's like bullshit, total bullshit. A good guy is a good guy. He's a good guy from the start, and he's a good guy at the end. He's a good guy. Now, maybe after he knows you, you'll give him some opportunities to learn some stuff and he'll be a better guy. But he was a good guy, okay, to begin with. He won't be a total asshole to begin with and then turn into a good guy all of a sudden. That doesn't generally happen. You know, don't expect just because you love them. Here's another thing. Don't expect people to live up to your expectations simply because you love them. It's their choice. You should never expect anybody to change to suit you. And women are so big on getting fixer-uppers. They kind of like a fixer-upper. They like somebody they can help change into something else. But you know what? If he isn't basically what you're looking for, you're kind of screwing up. Yeah, it's SOR time, SOR. Time for me to go and see what kind of trouble I can get into over at Dave's place. Hey, Leo Medic. He arrived just a little too late. You're going to have to rewind. We're just closing down. It's already been 3 hours. Holy crap. I thought this was going to be a quick one. How come every time I say this is just going to be a quick one, it turns out to be 3 or 4 hours? See you over there. I love you guys. You guys are great. Remember, you are divine. You are divine. You are creators. So create intentionally. The truth is where you find it. Hope you find some here. This is Ocean making waves. Now go out and make some waves of your own. I love you, and I'll see you next time. And I'll see you over at some other wonderful chats that we have together. And please like, share, subscribe, make a comment when it comes out. Invite friends. We're looking to expand. And realize that this weekend we're going to have a lovely celebration. We're going to have music and song and maybe dancing. I guess you kind of got to get a dance alone unless you got a partner with you. But, we're going to have fun, fun, because that's spring. We're going to celebrate the creation of beautiful new things in our life. And we're going to magnetize that. That's what we're going to do. We're going to magnetize fun and beauty and magic and good, better, new, fresh things into our lives. That is my intent. And I hope you share it with us. Okay, please come join us, Leo, over at Spaced Out Radio. We'll have a running chat with you just like we do with everybody else. And then, like I said, I love you, and I'll see you next time. I'll probably be on tomorrow night. Probably. Love y'all.